Welcome, I'm Phil Jelovic. Yesterday, the video was about just a bit about me, who am I? And today is gonna be about what is this channel about? What do you have in store that you get to look forward to and check out great stuff? So 5 core pillars. In a general sense, it's talking about manhood, relationships, health, love, sex. And said differently, what is it to be a man? What are the opportunities, the challenges we face? What it was to be a man in our dad's generation, in our grandpa's generation, some of that's still true. We face different opportunities, different challenges. Life's different. 2025 is different than the year 2000 or 100 years ago. And it's only gonna get more different. So the first thing that's on this channel is connecting with your sense of power. Who you really are, and that means a few different things. Your sense of power is who you are as a man in your heart, who you are as a man in your body, and your ability to not just financially provide in a relationship, but to emotionally provide. You know, who you are in your balls, your sexual energy, your healthy connection with your sexuality, your power. So it's not just some woo-woo metaphysical concepts or something like that. Energy in that sense is a part of it too, but not getting too kind of lost in new age spirituality, even though you can expect some of that here as well. But from a practical, tactical, not just, again, woo-woo, divine, masculine energy, like who are you as a human with your 2 feet on planet Earth? I don't know about you, but I've been in the hyper masculine, just get the result, get stuff done. That's one end of men's groups and men's movements, things like that, working with men. And then the other end, it's a never-ending mushroom ceremony where we're hugging each other in the woods and talking about our feelings, and where men become too feminine. So this is about really understanding your energy and finding your true power. I'm gonna suggest and create concepts here on the later videos, but it's really about what is your power. Like, you get to decide what your unique expression is, your energy, not this is what all men should be. That would be a bit nearsighted. So it's heart meets balls. Gotta have both. Some men's movements, all balls, some things, all heart. You need both. Pillar 2, the importance and processes to do your own inner work and your own inner healing. One of the best quotes I've ever heard: if we don't heal from what hurt us, we're gonna bleed all over people that didn't cut us. This shows up in relationships more than anything, but it can show up with our kids. It can show up with the rest of our family, with our unhealed part of us that doesn't feel we're not good enough, that we won't be loved. And one of the biggest things I've found, and I've seen with clients, I've seen with myself, is addressing shame. I think you could do almost all the personal development in the world if shame isn't understood. And what shame really is someone thinking, I'm not good enough, or I'm not gonna be loved for this. And guilt would be different. Someone went out and did something they normally wouldn't have done. They don't really drink anymore and they got super wasted and did something stupid. It still happens to people, right? You know, do something you're not proud of the next day. To go, okay, that was out of integrity. You know, I feel guilty. That's about an action. When guilt compounds, or this deeper sense of unworthy, not enoughness, that's shame. That becomes an identity. And if not addressed, it's lethal. And it can show up generally in 2 extremes. So you could be the guy that goes out, achieves everything, and doesn't feel fulfilled. You've made the money, you have the pretty women, you have the car, you have the house, however many millions, whatever it is. On the other end, it can be, so you're proving that you need to be good enough, right? On the other end, it can be never really getting started. Never really even starting to truly tap into who you know you are, because you don't believe you're good enough. So this is validating the identity of unworthiness, of shame. Well, that's who I am. You know, there's no point in doing too much. Just kind of be whatever, normal, average. And then this person is, I have to be so great and so perfect and achieve so much, people will love me. And they're the same problem on different extremes. So there's different processes with healing, especially around shame. For men, just that sense of something's wrong with me, I'm not good enough, which shows up stronger in us as men than women. I'll talk more about women on another video. And the other part that shows up really big for men is sexual shame. That I shouldn't feel this way, that conflict, I'll talk also about into that sexual shame specifically and speak to that is with guys going monogamous, then polyamorous or open relationship and not knowing what they want or feeling conflicted. As a guy, sexually, because you're married doesn't mean you're not going to find other women attractive. And we'll talk about those and how to navigate that. And also a huge tool for specifically healing is plant medicine. I'll talk about a variety of plant medicines, mainly ayahuasca, also medicines like kambo, bufo, jopo, or in the West we say yopo, mushrooms, MDMA therapy, different things, mambe, ambil, rape, or hape, depending on how you know it. So pillar 2, healing, plant medicine, and shame. Number 3 is manhood. What does it really mean to be a man? And there's frameworks of general codes, which I think serve, and there's also, what's your unique decision? We don't have male initiations anymore. We can. You can also look at your life and go, okay, here's where I was initiated. Here's what today is a new day. This is what I stand for going forward. So you get to define who you are. I'm going to make suggestions and show you what I've learned with my clients, but also you're deciding who you are as a man and what your unique expression of who you are means. And in today's day of so many things, what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman, I don't know if there's ever been more confusion and simultaneously more opportunity. Because what it meant to be a man for, let's say, our grandparents or our grandpa was go, work, don't hit the kids, bring money home, take care of the family. Grandpa didn't have emotions, probably, right? And it was very simple, and things have evolved to a couple other stages since then. And ultimately, it's knowing yourself, having a framework, and you deciding the man you're going to be and you're going to be becoming. Number 4, relationships, sex, and love. Was it Harvard or Yale that did the longest study in the history of studies, I think, on happiness? And it came up with one interesting finding. Your happiness is in direct proportion to your relationships. So that can be relationships with your brothers, your brotherhood, and some guys, they don't even have one guy friend they can talk to. And more specifically, it's our intimate relationship. Women are a different species, if you haven't figured it out. And men try to solve the problem of women, and it just annoys women. You don't get there. It doesn't work. There's an understanding of women, or said differently, decoding the female operating system. Think of it this way. Imagine you're an entrepreneur, you're in New York, you have this other business team coming in from Japan. You don't know anything about Japanese culture. You don't speak Japanese. You have a translator who helps you with Japanese, but you don't know body language. You don't know expressions. You don't know cultural things. You can very easily do something wildly offensive or get totally misunderstood because that's not your culture. Women are an entirely different culture. And most guys are so confused and they're just going, yeah, they're all crazy. They don't make sense. I want to have sex and, I like women and I don't get it. And that's where most men live and die. So actually understanding and decoding the female species, because most men will just spend the rest of their life confused by women, which is going to wildly affect their sex life, their love life, their intimate relationships, especially with a woman, and the kind of family they want to build. Number 5, health. Said differently, true health. Because you can do all the biohacking stuff in the world and buy machines and this and that. And if you don't have an understanding of the health of your thoughts and also your emotions and this interaction with this vehicle of life, all the biohacking devices in the world and supplements will only go so far. However, we're going to talk about that too. Because there's mind, body, spirit, heart, soul, your expression of a human being, of being specifically a man, and what that means and how to navigate that. Because you can be super jacked, take all the peptides, all the supplements, you got all the, devices that you saw that Ben Greenfield's endorsing or something like that, and be full of rage, full of shame, have hit all your goals and feel totally unfulfilled. So to have a balanced, different, comprehensive look at health. And lastly, one of the most important things that this channel is about, and manhood is about, and life is about, is telling the fucking truth. And everyone can relate something where they were lied to and it bothered them, it pissed them off, it hurt. But that kind of pales in comparison to us really being honest with ourselves. What do we want? What does the essence of us want? I was talking with a guy just the other day, and it's okay. I'm dating this girl, I really like her, I don't want to commit, maybe it's kind of a commitment, or do the, non-monogamy thing, and then maybe later, and we haven't talked more, we're going to talk tomorrow. If I was to guess, and I don't know the situation, maybe it's the right woman for him, maybe it's not, the essence of him wants to build an amazing relationship. Sleeping around for 3 months, 3 years, or 30 years, that's not going to fulfill him. So it's really being honest with yourself, being in a job, having the golden handcuffs where you make great money. And that can be, you make a few $100,000 a year and you're really comfortable. And with that money, that you're kind of trapped. There's something in you that knows you're here for something deeper. That job might not feel purposefully at all. In fact, it might feel the opposite, where you get rewarded financially for something you do, something you sell. And one of the worst things we can do is get rewarded for something that's really, truly inconsistent with our identity, because we'll keep going and we'll keep feeling more and more disconnected. Telling the truth to yourself first, there's virtually nothing more important, because we can live a lie, and you've seen people do it. You've seen people in your family do it. You've seen people on television, celebrities do it, where you can be rich, famous, this, that, with the wrong person, living this fake life. And you might not realize that it's not really what you want until you've really sat with someone and told the truth. Or quite honestly, you can do it tonight. Sit in the mirror. 5 minutes. Just look at yourself. You can talk to yourself. You can do it in silence. But to tell yourself the truth of, why am I really here? Man, why am I going back to drinking and smoking weed and porn and, this stuff? Why do I keep sleeping around when I keep saying I wanted to be a dad someday? Telling the truth is paramount. Thank you for tuning in. Much more coming soon.